What is going on, everybody? We have the crew back. We've got David. We've got C. Will over at the Passive Income Network. What is going on? Happy to be here, and it's great that we can connect on a Monday.
Heck yeah, after a rough weekend.
Yeah, that is absolutely for sure.
Yeah, what's good, y'all? How's it going?
What is going on? I mean, what are you guys seeing out there for the market? It does look pretty brutal.
Well, what I
Yeah,
what I see is a red sea of red and buying opportunities. That's what I see right now.
yep, for sure. Good dollar cost averaging. I'm waiting to see. I bought when it initially dipped when we had that the 50-day moving average still at support. So I bought some there, thinking maybe just maybe Algorand would pop off of that and that would be a really bullish indicator, but it didn't happen. We fell through that, and so now I'm waiting for the real area of support, and I feel like we're this close. Like it was at 70 cents this morning. So I feel like Algorand has to go test that 67 cents area of support before it's going to make any move. So, I mean, it may be a flash crash like it is most times, like a 4 hour, 8 hour period where it dips down that low and then bounces back to 70 cents. So I
Yep.
don't really think there's like, obviously people who are buying now, in the grand scheme of things, it's not going to matter, but I'm waiting to see how it handles touching that 67 cents area again. Because if we fall through, I don't even know.
Question for y'all: When do you stop buying the dip?
I
Um,
mean,
if I run out of money, I guess.
Okay,
yeah. I
yeah,
mean, for me, like
running out of
even though
cash.
even though we talk some technical analysis, and I still look at technical analysis for indicators, not really as a science, but like the reason for me buying Algorand has always been fundamentals. Like fundamentally, those are the reasons why I buy Algorand. So until a better tech comes out or a better something that's faster, more secure, or just maybe the team starts to fall apart and they don't seem like there's direction and there's something moving forward, then maybe I would stop dollar cost averaging and let it ride there. But if especially if Algorand were to dip below 67 cents, something crazy on this comeback, and we see 50-cent algo, or something crazy like 30-cent algo, or what people can't even imagine right now. I mean, those would be massive buying opportunities, especially in light of what we know is coming this year, which is the upgrades to the transaction speed, the Falcon keys,
Yeah.
state proofs. I mean, you've had Stacey Warden tweeting out that there's a huge marketing blitz plan, so there's going to be a lot of news coming up that's probably going to be bullish for it. So if the price wants to go down, I'll be there, scoop it up.
Hey,
Yeah, I really couldn't agree more, to be honest. I mean, let's just pull up this chart that I have right here for
You
Algorand.
got a guy in the comments who's with you on the buy at 69 cents. He said, I got a buy order sitting at 69.69.
Oh, heck yeah, that's me, man. That is me. I was just saying before we started to everyone here that I've bought every time Algorand has hit 69 cents, so I just have to do it again for tradition's sake, you
And
know?
then we sell what when it hits 420, $4.20.
Hey, maybe. I mean, I feel like it should have been a sign that we were all supposed to sell Bitcoin at 69,000.
Man,
Uh,
yeah, we everyone
it's
should have
crazy.
saw that.
in
Isn't it
hindsight,
crazy how there are social aspects of the world that actually like are mental like things that we see in charts and stuff. Like when a number gets to something like that, it's like, oh, this is a level of resistance, when it's like, why is that?
it is all a mental game, and it's one of those things that one of the reasons I like charts so much and people like don't realize what it really is. It's just like a basically a plot line of human emotion.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
You
I
know
knew
what I
you was
mean?
gonna go there.
Um, that's really what it comes down to, and you can kind of see it. There really are sometimes psychological lines of resistance, whether it's at like random round numbers that people just have psychologically in their brain or what have you. But yeah, charts are essentially really just a historical plot line of human emotion, you know. And
Yeah,
then you
well
can try to
said.
extrapolate the future from there. Of course, you're gonna be wrong sometimes, but you're using historical data really of human emotion, because that's all of this is. It's just fear and greed going up and down in the
So,
market.
so we should have sold at 250 when everyone was greedy for
Oh
for,
yeah,
for
yeah.
looking for
Yeah, I
that
was
three
just too
four
new.
dollar
I was
algorithm.
too new to sell. Like I'd bought in a bunch at like 80 cents,
Mm,
and like right in that 70 cents to 80 cents range. It was right when I found Algorand. So when it ran up to 250, I'm sure most people that were buying at that point probably thought too, like, hey, I got in early, and now we're just going to be above,
Yep.
$2 for the rest of eternity.
Forever.
That's
Yeah.
honestly, I thought we would like be at $1.50 and just stop there and have a new bottom, but we were all wrong.
Yeah, the market got destroyed. Although I feel like I called some of this downwind from about over here. It's gone down a little further and for longer than I expected, but it's still within this bullish structure that I drew out. I don't know, maybe like a week or two ago. It's
Yep.
right on top of it though. Like you can see, it's basically landing on it as support right now, which is kind of incredible. Like this, just one long wick going right down to this. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
So as of right now, it's still holding this. I have my eyes on it. If we drop down just a tiny bit outside of it to that 67 support line, or 68, 67 support line, that would be fine too. But if we break below that, honestly, like the next line of support really isn't until like 50
50,
cents.
50 cents,
Oh,
because
that was
that was the all-time high for the first run, I think, after the COVID crash.
Yep.
the comment says, "See, Will, have you checked out Crazy Goose Flock?" Wordo, no, I have not.
I'm
Um,
seeing a lot of those
uh,
NFTs flying around though.
so Crazy Goose Flock, yeah, I'm gonna have to look it up. Do you think DFly is worth holding, and if most ASAs are not? All right, yeah, that's a good question. Let's ask ourselves which ASAs are worth holding in your opinions.
During
During
like
uncertain times like this,
Yes.
it's I guess what I'm going to assume is the question. That's a tough one because really you have to realize what your risk appetite is and what your time horizon is. Because if you don't want to see your portfolio going down potentially substantially for another couple weeks or another couple of months, which is a total possibility, then maybe you want to move into stable coins or more hard assets like Bitcoin that might only go down 5 or 10% a day versus 20 or 30%.
yeah,
Uh, but if if your risk appetite is high, you have money to dollar cost average through these hard times, and you have an outlook of 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then these prices could be a gift. Even if they go down lower, they could even be more of a gift. So it really depends on your risk appetite. For me personally, the only ASAs I'm holding right now in any substantial way are Opulus and DFly. I also have a little bit of XET, which is Xfinite, and a little bit of Yieldly, which I regret buying. I bought some for a trade, like when they announced their.
you thought the
Yeah,
burn was going to help you out.
I got burned. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I mean, it's literally like the second smallest portion of my portfolio, so it's not that
Yeah,
big of a deal. But yeah, I definitely regret that. But yeah, that being said, the only thing I'm holding right now for the long term in any substantial size right now is DFly and Opulus.
yeah.
I
Same
have
with you.
full disclosure. I have sold some of my DFly though, just because after the pre-sale, it ended up being like 36% of my portfolio, and I honestly don't like anything besides Algorand or stablecoins being that much of my portfolio. So I
Yeah,
have been putting some of it back into Algorand, but right now, let's see. I'll give you the exact data just so people can have the full disclosure. Right now, DFly is 24% of my crypto portfolio. So it's still a substantial size, but at one point it
yeah,
was like 36.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
only holding Opulus, DFly, and I do hold a small amount of Zone that I had from the initial launch, and I haven't lost much on it. I've actually bought like pretty much right around where it's at now. So holding that DFly, obviously I have them all staked on AlgoFi.
Yep.
Opulus is still the outlier though that I feel like is like stands the highest chance that if we do see a market flip and we see Bitcoin run and we see altcoins follow, I do think Opulus stands a pretty good chance at maybe not setting a new all-time high, but I think it even could.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I'm
bullish
with
there.
I'm on the Opulus train as well. I think right now Opulus, other than I'll say DFly, because DFly seems to be performing pretty well and been solid, but I'm not in DFly, so I feel Opulus for me is the one that I'm still focused on the other ASA. And there was one more. I can't think of it right now. It'll come back to me. But I'm looking at other things, but I'm still only on Opulus. Oh,
Yeah.
stable coins. That's
Yep.
because JT always pushing stable coins. I'm usually like a cash guy. I will leave money on like my account on crypto.com or something and buy from there. So I'm thinking of doing the stable coin Opulus pool. I'm looking at those.
Hey, as
Or
long as you've
stable
got a
coin
cash
logo.
position, I
I
mean,
got
the
cash.
only reason I say stable coins, it's that can be just synonymous with a cash position. If it's actual just cash in an exchange, that's
My
totally fine
fiat
too.
wallet. Mhm.
I just think people should have, 5, maybe 10% of their portfolio ready to go as cash or stable
Yeah.
coins or whatever, so you can buy these dips, and so you have sort of an insurance package. You know what I mean? If your portfolio is dropping, but 10% of it, or in my case right now, like what is it, 39% of my portfolio is stable coins. I mean, these red days aren't that bad. My portfolio doesn't move that much, and I'm able to buy the dip.
Yep.
Well, I
Exactly.
used to be in HDL, so Maxwell talk about HDL. I was in that one. I swing trade HDL probably 3 different times and
Yeah.
made profit all 3 times, and I'm loving
Nice.
that.
Yeah,
I've actually never
I
bought
bought
HDL.
I bought Headline when it was at like 60 something cents and sold it above $1, like right before I think it was right before the Tiny Man exploit.
Yeah, yeah. Pull up those tiny charts.
And I got it out, and yeah, I haven't touched it since. It's down like it's down pretty far though. I think
Yeah.
it kind of suffered a lot with the Yieldly stuff, and they
Well,
both been kind of like
Humble too.
working
They got
together.
hacked on Humble.
Yeah. Oh, is that what
Everything,
it
it
was?
seems like everywhere they put a token, you know, they get hacked or something happens.
I didn't think well, I didn't know what ASA or what pool or whatever it was on Humble that
Yeah, I
caused
don't.
it to not launch.
I wasn't aware of a particular pool on Humble either.
I
Um,
wasn't, but it's just like when I see headline there, I'm like, you know, it's like it's always a hack though. Like,
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
they're
to be
around.
fair, Headlight's going to be on every decentralized exchange, so it is like they are going to be anyone that gets exploited if they do. But that being said, it was kind of cool that that the DeFly team was actually the one that found that exploit. I mean, we got to say though, I mean, I don't know, no one's really said it that much, and I love Chris and I love the Reach team, but like they did do a lot of like gloating that that Reach was like the safest language, and then within a week they found an exploit
And it
in their
wasn't even
contract.
them.
I
It
was
was
saying, it's
somebody.
I know
probably-
it was the DeFly team when they were integrating it
Yeah.
into their app that was like, hey, this something going on right here. I
so
mean,
that means building in
Props to the
Reach.
DeFly team too for not obviously trying to exploit that in some backdoor manner and take advantage of it.
oh, for sure, because they could have just sat on the information, waited for TVL to go up substantially. I mean, obviously the first week there wasn't much to grab anyway, but that you could sit on that information for a little while. There's a lot of times where exploits are known on the first couple of days by smart enough people, and they just kind of wait until it's the right opportune time. But you wanted me to pull up tiny charts. Anything in
Yeah,
particular on tiny charts?
yeah. I want to look at HDL. It's
All right, let's look it up. Let's see, search assets,
but yeah, I was
HDL.
like bullish on HDL for like several months, like all winter, and I'm happy I got out.
I
But
think most people were, and I think it's just because of how many tools and how many things they were building. But like a lot of people have said, that doesn't bring value necessarily to the headline token. Like the
yep,
only use case for the headline token, from what I'm aware, is if you hold a certain amount, almost similar to the nerd token with Crypto Nerd, is that gives you the ability to have access to their platform, right?
yes.
Yeah.
So I could be wrong if there's more utility now for the headline token, but I mean,
And I went
realistic.
to their platform forum, right? You know, in their first beta. And that's the reason I originally bought in. I needed 1,000 tokens. So I was like, yeah, let me do it. It was when they were like really cheap, really, really cheap. So I went in there and it was at the beginning. I haven't went back in a while and I don't know about the developments of the platform. But I wasn't too impressed with the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of almost like Facebook in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like the idea. I do think we need more decentralized social media platforms, especially ones that aren't controlled and censored by big tech or governments around the world. Um,
Have you,
but yeah, I mean,
David, you still following the love chain?
I
Uh,
not closely.
no, they've sent me, obviously they'll DM me every now and again, some like news releases for App Pay. Cause they're also the same people who creating the love chain or creating App Pay, or some of the people interlap there.
What is cow token? Does anyone know what cow token
I'm-
is?
It's a
No.
mood token.
It is mooning. It is mooning. It's up 700% right now.
5,000.
It's
I'll
a
wait and
rug
see.
coming.
I'll wait and see Algo Scout's rug tweet for Cal here in about an hour, and
Yeah.
they'll get away with like 100 algo or something.
Yeah, don't go buy this. There's only $5,000 worth of liquidity. Like
Yeah, don't
anything
buy
substantial, like if you wanted to put, yeah,
One thing I do want to pull up just on regular CoinMarketCap Opulus's chart, because obviously if you
Gotcha.
guys are paying attention, just a week recap. Obviously, this last week they just listed on Bitmart. So now that's another exchange. I think that's 3 exchanges in the past couple months they've listed on, as well as they've had some big YouTubers, influencers out there in the space. That Martini guy, Cointelegraph, that have been, just showing this crypto to more and more people. So the exposure is obviously growing. I even want to say that Martini guy. I follow him on Twitter. He's pretty funny to watch in some of his YouTube videos. But he's actually has a altcoin challenge he's doing right now. I think you just got to scroll up and then hit.
Yeah, I was just looking at all the different markets that you could
Okay,
get it
gotcha.
on, because you were mentioning that, and honestly, it is kind of impressive how many different
It's a lot.
exchanges there are.
Yeah,
And they do need to work their way up to some bigger exchanges, because some of these are just like,
yeah. The
very
LA token was the
very
new
small.
one.
It is
Obviously,
cool that CoinMarketCap, sorry to interrupt, is adding a Tiny Man to their list. It would be really sweet for them to eventually add all of our other decentralized
yeah,
exchanges
I'm
as
sure
well,
it'll
'cause that's pretty
come.
cool.
It'll come.
So
Yeah,
Their last biggest exchange they launched on was Huobi, which they actually just announced a staking pool there. So now people who are buying on that exchange are able to stake it, earn
yeah,
30% APY, same as KuCoin. The only I would say drawbacks to staking over on those platforms are both KuCoin and Huobi Global have 90-day and they have lockups pretty much. So you're not going to be able to move that money out as fast as you would if you're on like AlgoFi or something.
yeah. What am I
But
supposed to be looking for on here, real quick?
I was just saying, look at the
sorry,
chart. Just
just
bring the
pull the
Oh,
chart
chart.
you
up.
just wanted the
Scroll
chart.
down.
Okay, okay.
But
I
yeah,
thought
they
you
got the
wanted
new staking pools. They also have the partnership with Securitize. And this was something that when I saw it, I even put out a small little video just covering that news, because I do think that if they can, if this partnership can do what it's supposed to do and help them get that SNFT platform and exchange going in a regulated and in a way that's not, shady or doesn't seem off, and it's a legit thing. I think it just brings more credibility to Opulus and what they're trying to build. That it's not just some pie in the sky idea, but that they're actually going to be able to deliver on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Securitize is a great company and platform as well. Like, they are by the books, 100% going to be one of the big players in the game that are helping to bring on all sorts of different assets that are classified as securities onto the Algorand blockchain. I
Yeah,
believe they're the ones that helped Exodus, the Exodus wallet, launch their Class A or Class C stock on Algorand, which is really
Yeah.
cool to see.
I
yeah.
think they did a bigger art project as well.
Yeah, and someone even said, Opulus is an ultimate rug, and from $5 to 70 cents. I get it.
Yeah, it went from, remember, like 1 cent to $5. So that's what they forget.
Yeah. It
Started.
ran all the way. It launched at 5 cents, ran all the way to $7.54. But like, there are so many cryptos. Even if you look back to previous runs before Opulus, before Algorand even had anything in its ecosystem, there are many small cap cryptos that made massive runs, had 90% plus corrections, and have still come back
Yep.
to reward early investors big time. I mean, they're you can literally find those anywhere. So I don't see Opulus as a rug. Obviously, I'll see it as a rug when their website goes down, their Twitter gets deleted,
Yeah.
and
And the LinkedIn gone,
Yeah,
and
I don't think it's a
that's a
rug.
rug.
I don't see that happening. And even like I was saying just a few minutes ago, that Martini guy, he has a altcoin challenge where he's trying to take and turn $10,000 into $100,000. So
For
right now, I think,
altcoins?
yeah,
Wow.
altcoin, yeah, only altcoins. I think he was, at least last I checked, he was at like 17,000. And one of his biggest holdings percentage wise that he's using to get there is Opulus. And
That's smart.
obviously he's been an early investor, early backer for those guys as well. So I'm getting he's probably putting some hype out there and hopium in the market. But I
Yeah.
do think Opulus is, once they come through on their platform, people start earning royalties and can trade the NFTs and also, trade the SNFTs. It's going to be,
John John says, we get it. We we hold a lot of Apple, but don't show it in every video. Yeah, hey man, we're not shilling it. We're just
Yeah.
answering the question.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll keep it real a little bit too. Is like, um, I think one of the biggest problems that Oculus had was really launching their token far too early. I mean,
yeah,
this entire run was built on hype, and this entire fall was primarily, of course, because the market is
On
down. But
reality.
the market isn't down as much as Opulus is down, and I think Opulus got hit so hard because hype isn't going to save you in a bear market, and when you don't have utility during the bear market, you're going to get hit the hardest. So I think they should have waited to launch their token until they had their platform out
Yeah.
and ready, or at least much closer to out and ready, so that way utility was either there at the same time or right around the corner. But as of right now, people flee tokens that aren't useful to tokens that are much more hard assets. So that's why like assets like Opulus, if they're only riding on hype at a certain point in time, it can only get them so far. So I think Opulus could turn around when that app comes live and when more utility is driven to the token. But until then, I don't see it having any sort of crazy gains. It might consolidate around this level a little bit, but I'll leave it at that. We're not shilling. I'll leave it at that.
So another question about Lofty.
Lofty
Uh,
AI, love the
yeah, yeah.
project. What's the question?
Yeah. So it says investing in Lofty soon. What's y'all experience have been on the platform? So how's y'all
Oh, here it is.
experience?
I absolutely love Lofty AI. I own like 17. Well, I'm invested in like 17 different properties on
Damn.
Lofty AI. Uh, yeah, honestly, I've got a substantial amount of money on there, and probably am owning or earning like a lot free Lofty token with my rental income like every 20 or 30 days, which is pretty sweet. So hoping to compound that into every day, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I do got to say, just because we got to keep it real in this on this podcast, but the market is crazy high for real estate. You could be buying close to the top, especially with mortgage rates going up. That being said, during the last mortgage crisis and the last housing crisis, the housing market dropped 10, 15, 20% in some cases a little bit more exaggerated, but the drops are nothing compared to crypto. So yeah, it's going to be volatile. Yeah, you might be at the top of the market this period. Which is it's hard to say because I'm a realtor, and I'll say that even though rates are going up right now, and you would think prices would come down because of it, because the cost of getting a mortgage is more because the rates going up, there's so little inventory on the market that prices are still staying either up or are still going up, or at least leveling out at the level they are right now. I don't really see them coming back down because there's such a lack of inventory on the market. I'm working with buyers right now, and they have a budget of $400,000, and they're losing out to deals almost like $50,000, $100,000 more, offering in cash. It's like
Yeah.
it's
Crazy.
it's super hard to win a deal right now, and it's
Like
primarily because the inventory is so low. Open houses are absolutely packed full of people. So I don't know. I don't see the housing market going down anytime soon. And even if it does, it could just be a good opportunity to buy more tokens. But I'll
Yeah.
leave it at that. What do you guys think of Lofty?
I would
um
say the one thing I really like about Lofty and what they do is when you're invested in any of the properties, obviously the governance voting is pretty cool, where they actually let the community decide on certain aspects about evictions, certain aspects about rent increases and things like that. Like you do get to have a vote in those if you're on those properties. But also like if there is anything like someone not paying rent, and obviously the eviction process has to get started, you're notified about that immediately. You have a voice in what happens, and their email notifications and their updates are very quick. And Max, which is one of the guys over there, you can email with him. He's very responsive. So I love that from the team, that they're very just open and easy to talk to, when buying, selling any of their properties.
Yep. I agree with both of y'all. And what I like about the site is that you can also use it for an educational platform. The
Hmm.
learn section on there is pretty dope.
Yeah.
Like you said, Max got articles and all
Yep.
kind of information. And then when you click a property, you can look at all the documents and actually see like, what we're paying for management. Perfect. Pull it up. Yeah, management fees. And you can see, everything that has to do with actually running a real estate property. Is very interesting. Then what JT said too about just the housing market, I'm slowly entering the market right now and just talking to my bank and everything. And yeah, interest rates are going up. People are buying houses in cash, or it's investors mostly that are buying. They're buying condos, they're buying single family homes, and they're buying commercial properties. BlackRock and all those big guys are buying it up, which is keeping the prices up.
Yep.
And then like
Yep.
where I'm at on the my neighborhood, like the average house is 6, 7, 800,000.
Hmm.
But I'm looking in places like Texas and the Midwest. I can go live like a king in one of these different areas. So that's what people are deciding to do is like, I'm getting out of there using my same amount of money and I'm buying 3 times the land down south or in the Midwest or something to that. So
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
honestly what I've been looking at to be real. I
Yep.
mean, the
And
median.
working from home is also giving everyone the ability to, you know, to live wherever they want
Exactly.
and also, work wherever they want.
Hey,
Dude, they've so
JT, can you
they've
click one of the ones for sale?
yeah, they've sold a lot of properties. But yeah, I mean, to go back to the point you were just making, I mean, the median house value around me is like $525,000.
Mhm.
And if you got a $300,000 to $400,000 budget, that sounds like a lot of money, but you're getting a pretty subpar, not
Yeah,
move-in ready home, and
like a fixer
you
up.
you bring that same $300,000 $400,000 down to like Georgia or something, you're getting like a mini mansion.
Yep,
Yeah.
8 bedrooms, an acre, like all of that. It's crazy. Yeah, yeah. Lofty is dope. That's my answer. I'm in about 5 different properties right now, and they all are going up in value. And I plan on putting a lot more money into Lofty because
Yeah.
essentially it's just investors like ourselves. Lofty is facilitating all of us putting our money together to actually go purchase this property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to your point earlier, they're very transparent. Here's all of the documents on one particular property we just clicked on. You can see the assignment contracts, the all sorts of receipts, certifications, W-9 forms, registration forms, inspection reports,
Yep.
LLC wiring
Oh, I
details,
got another point for y'all too, because someone says
seller
eventually.
repair receipts, and everything. And really, real quick, just
Yep, go ahead.
On David's point as well, they are great in the sense that it's very democratic. So no matter whether it's a vote on how much money they should put in the treasury for repairs, or whether it's what to do if a tenant stops paying rent, they leave that decision up to the token holders because we are essentially all the landlords. So it's really nice to kind of have that power, the ability to have some say with your assets, as well as having the ability for them to increase in price and earn a passive yield on the rental income.
Yep. Exactly. And I wanted to add too, because someone's like, eventually hedge funds are the only ones that's going to be able to buy houses. And how I'm seeing it, it's like, yes, partially true. And then Lofty is also proving that it is kind of true, because now we're together buying properties on Lofty that a family could have bought, but it's us behind the scenes too a little bit there.
Yeah, I've heard this argument before, but like, it's not anything new. It's just new on how we're able to do it. Like, we're able to interact with it a lot more and build personalized portfolios. But there have always been like REITs or real
Yeah, yeah.
estate investment trusts that there are residential REITs, there are commercial REITs, and everything in between. So there are already ways that people like you and I could invest like $50 into a REIT and essentially be buying a diversified portfolio of rental properties. So.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think if anything, it's just a de-risking. It's people. You see a lot of the money moving out of the stock market and moving out of super volatile, risky assets. And moving into more hard assets, especially with the possibility of a recession and a lot of the gloom and doom that we see. Over the next year in equities, commodities, and all the things like that. So I feel like it's just also it's a smart investment to have. I mean, if you're
Mhm.
getting gains in flipping cryptos, I mean, who's to say you shouldn't move some of those? If you're holding stable coins are great, but if you move those same gains and you move them into lofty AI properties, well, at that point, then you're earning daily rent off of that money sitting there. Obviously, you could be earning money off of staking your stable coins, and you can do the math and find out which ones are going to pay the best. But there's a lot of good opportunity out there.
I would say,
yeah.
and we're not shilling real estate.
I mean,
I'm shilling. I'm shilling real estate, and if you're in Massachusetts, hit me up. I'll help you buy or sell your house.
Hey, let's
right?
go.
But that said, like, look at this. I mean, you can see this is the bubble right here in 2008 that we were all terrified of, and it was unfortunate. I mean, a lot of people that owned homes got kicked out of their homes and lost their homes. It was really unfortunate for those people, 100%. But if we're just investors on Lofty AI, we're not at risk of being evicted or what have you. So really, we're at risk of losing like 20% of our value in the short term to the likely inevitable next housing market bull run, which will bring us to all-time highs again. I mean, housing is a limited commodity right now, and until there's a huge increase of supply, which I don't see happening with the cost of
No.
wood and the cost of lumber and building materials absolutely through the roof. And I don't see a government administration that wants to take on the task of building new inventory. So I don't know. I think it's a pretty solid investment. It's a great way to diversify your portfolio, and in a sense, I kind of treat my Lofty money as like cash equivalents. You know how you see like on balance sheets, you got cash and you got cash equivalents. I see it sort of similar there because yeah, it might go down like 1 or 2% tomorrow, but I mean that's much closer to being at cash level than going down 10 or 20% like crypto.
Right.
So
Yep. Do y'all follow Grant Cardone?
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I know
that's
who
what
he is.
that's what he talks about. He always pulls the chart up. The most consistent thing is that rents will go up. So
Yeah.
as an investor, we can know that rents will go up over time, and that's always going to happen, and it has been happening. So
In my area, it's crazy. This past year, I mean, some people were their rents were increasing by 500, 600, $700.
Yeah, rents
Like,
are too damn high to be
yeah,
real, and I say
yeah,
that as somebody that
people
works in the
were actually
industry.
losing,
yeah, I'm
having to move
renting it.
out.
My rent went up last year, and it's going up again this year.
Yeah.
So it's like it's going to keep happening. So I think it's good. It's a good buy
I'm in
anyway.
such a fortunate scenario with my current housing situation, but my previous housing situation, I had an apartment with a couple friends in a city that was supposed to be cheaper than where we grew up. And when I first moved in, it was a two-bedroom for $1,000. That same two-bedroom now, I mean, that was I moved in like 7 years ago. When I moved out, it was like 1,400. That same two-bedroom is $2,200, more
Yeah.
Oh
than more than double the cost. And I guarantee you, everybody living in that area is not making twice as much money in that amount of time.
No.
no, no, no. Wow. Yeah, but that's just what it is.
Yeah. So what's next? What else are you guys seeing in the market? We can move on from this
Yeah.
depressing housing and rent prices are way too high
Right.
conversation.
Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the best places to stake Algorand or any ASA. We'll kind of talk about that offline a little bit.
All right, let's start with you, Sewell.
Yeah. So off the top, I'm gonna push AlgoFi. I'm shilling AlgoFi. Like I said
You
earlier,
shill.
yeah, earlier in the video, I'm really interested in the stable paired with another token like Algorand or Opolis
Yep.
because it helps you a little bit with I guess impermanent loss or price dropping, and then it gives you the opportunity to have a cash position.
Hmm.
And if you ever wanted to hop out to go trade for something else, you still got cash and you still got another option. So that's what I'm in right now. What about y'all?
It's some pretty great yields over there, to be honest. I want to check out PactFi. There's some great yields in their liquidity pool. I just haven't gotten the chance to move any money around, but I've been seeing some really great numbers, especially with things like GoMint. I hold some GoMint that I bought in the first day, and I'm providing liquidity to it on AlgoFi, but it's earning like maybe 10, 15%, which is great until I looked over at PactFi, and right now there's an Algo GoMint pair that's earning like 130%. So I'm like, all
Oh
right,
wow.
maybe this 10, 15% isn't as great anymore. But yeah,
So
let's look at AlgoFi real quick. I do have most of my money there, and this is the LP farm. So you could LP farm stable in USDC for about 11%, stable in USDT for about 18%,
yeah, that's solid 18%.
USDT and USDC for 12. Let's see, Algo and stable for about 18 almost, BTC stable for 26.
So and
Just
something to think about is that underlying pair BTC that go BTC is actually Bitcoin, so that one's
mhm.
gonna have less volatility, and I would say a Z maybe
No, this has
is
been one of my favorite yield farms. And the
yeah
great thing about this, I mean, I know there's Yieldly out there, there's Algo Stake out there and whatnot, but you can see, even though some of these rewards might be a little lower than you can get on Algo Stake or Yieldly, what you're earning is hard assets like
yep
Algo Stable, just more Algo. In some cases, you're earning the asset that you're pooling in. So the XET stable pool, you're going to earn more Algo and XET. Same thing with the Opulus pool, more Algo and Opulus and so forth. But you're not just earning another staking token. You're earning more of the asset that you want to earn. So I love this platform, but like I said, I do want to check out PactFi. Let's go over there right now, actually, because some of those yields are out of control. Oh, I typed that in wrong. But how about you, David? What are you seeing out there?
I've been primarily using AlgoFi. I did flirt with some of PactFi, and I actually moved over some Opulus and was putting Opulus and Algo into the liquidity pools there because obviously that payout is quite high right now. And I think that you're with governance this time around and being able to unlock your governance and use those algos. I think there's definitely a lot of potential with certain things like PactFi because of the Aeneas rewards, Folks Finance, which is dishing out extra algo rewards. And then obviously you have the OGs like Tiny Man, which is still giving out good yield, even on stable farm
Oh, wow.
staking.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, there's lots of good
Look at this
opportunities.
USDC Opulus, 213% right
I'm
now.
about to move over there in this
I
second.
know.
Right?
We have to cut this episode short, guys. We're sorry. I gotta do a couple things. 160% algo Opulus. This is
Oh, wow.
quite amazing, to be honest, right
Yeah.
now. I mean, granted, a lot of it, as you can see, are from these rewards given out by the Algorand Foundation, so it is temporary. The rewards will come down to something more normal.
But still, look
But
at that,
I mean,
8,125 algo per week.
yeah,
That's a lot.
Yeah, I like that.
hook me up. I mean,
Metric,
let's
yeah.
move up a little bit.
35,000
It
algo
gets
per
even
week.
crazier. Yeah,
Algo mint.
37,500 algo for these algo mint rewards. But yeah,
They're
look,
really
I mean,
obviously they're trying to really push hard to get people to bridge their Bitcoin and their ETH over to Algorand. Which I mean, hey, if you don't have it, I guess ETH staked for ETH2, and you don't have and you're okay, I guess, with a custodial, like Algo Mint bridging and whatnot, and holding your Bitcoin and giving you Go BTC, then it'd definitely be worth it. But I do get why people don't want to move their Bitcoin out of their wallets and
Yeah,
give
it's a
that,
lot.
put that on a centralized bridge that could possibly get hacked. Like I get the
Yeah.
reverse side of it as well.
How y'all
Well-
feeling about Yieldly?
Who? No, I'm
eh,
kidding.
lackluster. I'm hoping that they come through with some of the stuff that they mentioned, the NFT marketplace,
Yeah.
the launchpad, and all that stuff, because it's all riding on that, really. I mean, we're seeing now that just the staking coin alone isn't going to be enough to propel it, which is one of my biggest disappointments with Yieldly, because it was never supposed to be just this staking platform, and they kind of went beside some of their roadmap ideas early on. But that being said, if they can produce a launchpad, because it's still something this space really, really needs, if they can do that, then there's certainly some high hopes for Yieldly. But I do think it all rests on that NFT marketplace and the launchpad, because if you just look at this, sorry, go ahead real quick.
I was just going to say it's going to be interesting too, because we've seen how Yieldly kind of, hasn't really done what it set out to do, and obviously the price and the TVL and everything has suffered since. It'll be interesting to see, like, once we have more platforms, even like Opulus. I wonder if Opulus's TVL, if it would be able to be contributed to, like DeFi Llama and tracking and whatnot with the SNFTs and stuff like that.
Well, not the SNFTs, but their staking platform, if they have where you can stake Opulus, for sure. Or if you could stake your NFTs, then for sure. But
yeah, that's more or less what I was thinking. Like, if you're able to stake your SNFTs.
Yeah, NFTs alone wouldn't count. I mean, there's a lot of people, like, it's the same reason people, there's people that think the Lofty AI token should count towards TVL, which they really just shouldn't, because because it's not value locked. They're just selling a token that this token just represents ownership of something. It's the same thing as if somebody just sold you a JPEG NFT. That JPEG doesn't count towards TVL. It does count towards a different metric, which is TAV, which is total asset value on the chain, which is about like $6 or $7 billion right now. Granted, the majority of that is coming straight from the Algorand token, but yeah, it's not TVL. But so, yeah, I mean,
still on Tiny Man?
What's that? What about Tiny Man?
Anyone still using Tiny Man?
Honestly, not really.
I do every now and again. If this, I'll check the swaps to see especially if it's a ASA that there's not as much.
Yeah, it depends on the liquidity
stuff on AlgoFi or something. But one of the quick questions I had for you guys is, and I'm gonna try to make sure it doesn't leave my head here. I was watching a video and I actually tweeted out about it. But it was Blockworks was the YouTube channel, and it was interviewing that Tim Peterson guy, and there was another guy on there, and he talks about how or he made a comment, and this is kind of like, I saw one of the comments over conspiracy theorists, but Klaus Schwab said in his World Economic Forum video that you'll own nothing and be happy. There's all this fear about like the future, about like, people won't own anything, right? That it's just you're just going to rent, everything from these big conglomerates and these big things. And one of the comments he said, and it was kind of like nonchalant, but he was kind of like joking, but like he was also, like, you could tell he was kind of serious about, saying it. But in the far future world where blockchain obviously is more integrated and being like plugged into the network is going to be crucial. Like, if you're not a part of these blockchains, or your country or wherever you live is not like economically you won't survive. And he kind of mentioned like, if your child or whatever is bad, what do you do for, what do you do to them? You take away their phone, right? You unplug them from the network, and they'll pretty much do whatever they got to do to get back on the network. Like they'll be good, they'll behave. And imagine that, like amplify that to a, the world where this future that we're going to, with everything being on the blockchain and this borderless economy. Imagine an area that's not, doing what they should do, and the penalty would be you just get booted from the network. Like,
isn't China doing that with social, like some type of social rewarding system?
I have no idea. The stuff I'm seeing in China right now is crazy, and I don't even, some of it, I don't know what to believe. I don't really trust much of what I see on social media, but that stuff is crazy, right? And that obviously could even be introduced even more so with like CBDCs. Like I know there are tons of people on the Algorand ecosystem who love that Algorand is going to be the place where everybody wants to build their CBDCs, and it's like, but CBDCs aren't that great.
No.
Easier for that.
Hard pass. Yeah, hard pass.
I don't want CBDCs. I want them to just adopt the stable coins that are out, and then have them, back the stable coins with real US dollars, and do the whole verification process monthly or quarterly would be perfect.
Yeah, I'm totally cool with centralized stablecoins being regulated, so they have to prove that they're backed the way they say they're backed. But yeah, I am certainly not a fan of any CBDC. I sort of fear them a little bit. But to your point, I mean, this article right here was written in Forbes magazine in 2016 by the World Economic Forum as a contributor, and the title is "Welcome to 2030. I own nothing, have no privacy, and life has never been better." It's a very dystopian reality that they're trying to paint over there. So
it makes us feel good about not being, having ownership of real hard assets, and I don't like that.
All right, the thing that pops into my head, and I don't even know why I can't. Oh wait, now I know who the villain is. All right, so I'm a huge Marvel fan, obviously, as you can tell.
Shout out to Marvel.
I got tons of more. I have like many more Marvel action figures. I should I feel like I should start like circling them out and putting new ones up. But Loki, in the first Avengers movie, right, when he lands and he's talking to he's in either Paris or maybe Germany or somewhere, but
you got them kneel.
Yeah, he has him kneel, and he. I don't. Obviously, I'm going to butcher the words, but pretty much like he starts saying like your all's mad dash for power, is futile, and it drains your enjoyment and whatnot, and it's like you were meant to kneel, like, and stuff like that. Like that is this. I don't know, like that. It's always
article vibe, right?
Yeah, right. It's just this idea that like we won't. You'd be happier if you didn't have to fight, for status or for money or for
you'd
power.
Be happier if you didn't have to manage your own Algorand wallet.
But it's like, it's crazy because to some people that does speak, they're like, what, that'd be true. But then it's like, but there's still going to be people who are running that system, and there's no way that system would be run ethically. Like, come on. We've seen that almost try to be played out in history, and it never works out well.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we could dive into the politics of it a lot, but I mean, I feel like that would be a whole nother hour conversation.
We learned from Loki. It doesn't work, right? Captain America, Iron Man.
It's not going to work.
So we got a Hulk, and our Hulk is Algorand.
Crazy.
And we want to own it. We want to own it.
Right.
Did we already talk the NFT metrics here?
Let's talk NFT metrics.
Let's do it. Yeah, you want to pull up? Let's check this out.
Let's do it. So for those looking, this is NFTexplorer.app. This is one of the best pages to look at for all things Algorand NFTs. You can get this statistics page right here and find a lot of really interesting information out. Is there anything in particular you want me to seek out in here, Sibyl?
Well, I do kind of want to look at the highest sell prices real quick. I haven't looked at them in a while, which is you got to scroll up.
Let's see.
So I'm thinking about so Solana is a big platform in Ethereum. Like, what does it take to have Algorand, other than total value lock and all that situation, to have the NFT space pop more on Algorand? We see Algorand has
Algorand number one was sold for 111,000 Algorand, and is still the top dog. It seems valued around $230,000. Which is a good chunk of change, but you're right. Yes. It's not, I mean, compared to some of these eye-popping numbers you see on other blockchains. However, you,
It's just
we
it's traffic. There has to be
yeah,
more people that are on Algorand's network. I mean,
that, but you also got to understand that there's a lot of these high volume trades that happen on other blockchains that are really just wash trading. Like
oh yeah, for sure.
people, I mean, maybe in some rare cases they are, but people aren't spending actually $10 million on an NFT. They're washing their money and trying to evade taxes like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
It's the
I
same
was
thing. The old, it's like it's not a new trick. I mean, the rich used to do this or still do this with art all the time. It's just a new digital way to do it.
Say you
yeah,
buy some art, right? And then you can not pay tax on certain things.
because it's yeah. I mean, because
Store your
and that's
money
a,
in the art.
Well,
say
there's a
again.
lot. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of things you can do, and even just to pump up the value of something, you could create an NFT from one wallet and then buy it from your other wallet, and say you bought it for $2 million, but you bought it yourself. You bought your own NFT, but they don't. The market doesn't know that. They don't
That's
know
true.
your wallets are connected, and now the floor price of your NFT is $1 million, even though you just bought it from yourself. So there's a lot of funny money that goes on in the NFT space. So I wouldn't be too
A
concerned
lot
that
of
we're
people are
not.
saying it's also the whole thing with the headline, like their Astros and whatnot. Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen some people saying like, and I would even say this, it's like who's buying these things? 'Cause I saw some tweets saying like who's buying these, platinum Astros. I see nobody on Twitter shilling that they bought them,
No.
but yet they're selling, tons of these things. And that's the whole, like, that's the hype. I even remember when I was first kind of getting into NFTs and I created my first set, and I listed them for sale. A guy that I was just talking to about it, because I told him I sold one. He was like, "Really? You sold one?" I was like, "Yeah, for 5 algo. I mean, it's pretty crazy." And he's like, "What you need to do next time is you just need to create, your NFT, list it for 100, and then go buy it from yourself, and then keep buying." He's not even in
Yeah.
NFT,
But
and he
check
was
this out.
literally,
When people do that, if the wallet that is purchasing doesn't have any activity history on the wallet, then we know it's kind of a scam.
but yeah,
Some
but you got
investigators out
who's
here.
actually going to do that research? That's what
Not
I
me.
would say.
I'm not.
Yeah,
No.
nobody is. Nobody's gonna. They're
People
just
do.
gonna see the floor price. Here's what's gonna happen is you're gonna go trust Rand Gallery and all these other things that are getting their data from the chain, but you're not gonna go actually track
The
who's
wallet.
buying what. I mean, it's even looking at that $111,000 Algoana that sold. Who bought that Goana?
We know who bought it. That
Yeah.
was a
Exactly.
VC.
Is
That was a
Borderless Capital.
VC deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which borderless capital is behind most things that are in the Algorand ecosystem and obviously trying to get attention raised. So it's like that's I'm not saying it was a wash trade, and I'm not saying it doesn't
It was an
matter.
investment trade, partnership
Yeah,
trade.
Yeah,
but
I
at
think
the
that
end,
was legit. I mean, I honestly think there's a good amount of legit trading that happens in the Algorand ecosystem because it's still so small. Um, but that's why I'm saying like these other ecosystems, even though they seem bigger, it's like there's also a lot of fake trading that goes on. I'm sure that happens in this space too, but
yeah.
there's a lot more genuine trades that happen. I think by volume in this space.
Yeah. And that's why one of the NFT artists I bought my only NFTs from was the Algo House. I bought a few Algo Sands. I was able to meet him at
Yeah.
Decipher and talk to him and get to know him and kind of see his, journey and where he's been and what he's
Wow.
building towards. And so, that's something that I can get behind as a person, not just this idea of just like, oh my gosh, there's all these Algoanas or all these NFTs and pictures, and like there's real sometimes the traffic it doesn't always add up to me.
Yeah. I hear you.
You know,
It is much better when you can meet people or they're like Alga House is active. So when they're like definitely active and the floor price isn't something I'll say too crazy.
And you see people actually you see the
Pocket,
buyers,
yeah.
you see the people changing their profile pictures, just like the Crazy Goose Flock. I've seen like tons and tons of stuff on them lately. It seems legit. Am I going to go buy it? Probably not. But
Probably not.
if you see that as a good investment, then go do it.
yep.
Yeah, I still think that utility and use case, all that is still the most important thing for your crypto and for your NFTs. And if they pay passive income, then I'm interested.
Oh yeah.
That's always the move there. I got I think it's Alvatar pack, and it shoots me Alva coin every week as well. Shout out to those guys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for me personally, even though I've probably missed out on some money by avoiding NFTs, I just have no idea how to value them. You know what I mean? Like I've spent a lot of time with numbers and data, and I kind of understand how to value equities in certain assets, but I have no idea how to value NFTs. So for me, I would only buy one if I liked it for the art and I just wanted to keep it as a collectible because
Yeah.
otherwise, if I'm buying something that I'm hoping to make money off of, I would be pretty much just shooting blindly. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And I was
yeah,
even
I wouldn't flip. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, the because you're bored guy, he was tweeting out that Timothy Peterson guy, and obviously there's all these different things that he talks about. But just one of the things is about how to how to value blockchain and how to value things like ETH, and I've even considered maybe possibly buying his little uh, his online thing that he has that goes over like the next couple years, like up until like 2023 or 2024 of Chainlink,
Mm.
ETH, Bitcoin. I think there's XRP and a couple others in there, but he just kind of goes over the metrics of having how do you actually plot a blockchain's growth over the next coming years with such a new market. One of the biggest things he talks about was obviously transactions, that actually happen. And I feel like that's also big for Algorand. I know we're about to get the huge upgrade to be able to do 10,000 transactions per second, but let's be real, you know, why do you need a 12 lane highway if you only got, if there's
One
only a few
car.
cars driving on it? Like that's where I wonder
I've heard
where,
this argument, but I
yeah,
could push back on it if you want to hear a
push
little
back.
pushback.
Yeah, pushback.
Um, See, I think it's a great marketing tool because, as you could see with Solana, I mean, one of the reasons they were able to generate so much hype was because of the marketing. They didn't have all of that transaction volume yet either when they were announcing and they were advertising it, but they got there because they had the ability to do so. I think it really could drive a lot of it could be a great thing for marketing to use, and plus growth happens slowly and then all of a sudden. You want to be prepared. If all of a sudden industry tomorrow was like, we want to build on Algorand, we'd want to have the rails ready for that capacity. We don't want to be like, oh well, we don't have that problem right now, so why increase capacity if we're not even at current capacity? It's like, well, growth really is slowly and then suddenly. Like
So
Yeah.
build it
it,
and they shall come thing as well. Just keep building. I
yep.
can agree with that.
Yep, yep. It's just really better. It's better to have those rails there and not need them than not have them there, and then all of a sudden a couple big companies are looking at Algorand, and all of a sudden they go to Solana because the inflated TPS metrics.
Hey,
Right.
facts, because it's like out of all the blockchains I use, and I pretty much use all of them, Algorand is still by far the best in tech wise. Like
Yeah. And I was, yeah.
transactions are always smooth, and I'm not nervous waiting trying to make a damn transaction and wondering if my coin is going to be frozen somewhere.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
or yeah, it's getting crazy. So yeah,
And
shout
that
out
was
to
one thing I
Algorand.
saw, one of the guys tweeted out and was like, describe Algorand in one word. I think the one that, made the most sense to me was reliable, right? It's like every single time,
Reliable.
like I can't tell you how many times I've thought, you know what, I want to go trade or move some of the ERC20 tokens I have on my ledger. I want to go move them out and do something with that money. I literally can't
I
because
was like, don't do it.
I don't even fire it up because I know the moment I go over there and I go to send ETH, I'm going to be disappointed with how much I got to pay to actually move that crypto, and it won't be worth it. And
And
it's
it
like
might
you
take a
don't
while.
have that. Oh yeah, and obviously
And it
there's
might
always the
fail.
ability for failed transactions
Uh,
and stuff like that. So
And
I
if there's a
definitely get
launch
that.
dropping, congestion,
right,
Yeah.
or Ashton Kutcher and Mila
yeah,
Kunis want to launch the Stone Kitties or whatever, Stone Cats,
it's
and
over.
congest the network. It's over. Yeah, it's
So what's
crazy.
your all's thoughts for let's switch it back just to kind of like Algorand in this month ending out. I saw some questions way early on about Earth Day and any ideas what maybe could be coming. What's your all's thoughts about as we almost halfway through April? Um, where do we end this month at with the Earth Day announcements that Stacey Warden hinted at? With possibly other marketing stuff coming. Is there a pop coming to Algorand as far as users wise and like
I'll say
transactions and things?
I would say I think the whole market right now, because of what's going on with like the war and food and inflation, Bitcoin is the one that we really need to be watching. And if Bitcoin does well, I think Algorand does well by default as one of the coins, I guess, kind of like peg to Bitcoin a little bit. That's
Gotcha.
what I'm thinking based on just global conditions, and it Algorand's not fully a global currency yet.
Yeah, I'll mostly agree to that. I mean, it's so hard to project outward. I mean, the ecosystem is growing. There's no doubt about that. The ecosystem is more lively. There's so much more to do. It's a much more interesting space than it was when all of us started here.
Nice.
But that said, I mean, that's growth likely coming, if at all, from the rest of the crypto ecosystem. The entire crypto ecosystem is not seeing growth right now. No new money is pouring into this ecosystem currently, and I'm not sure when that will change, and it's hard to project outwards for the rest of the month, especially knowing that tomorrow's CPI reading could be the worst one we've ever had. So, and in fact, the month-over-month reading is expected to be the worst reading ever. So, it's really hard to know how the markets will react to that type of information. It's hard to know how the Fed will react and try to respond to that sort of data. So. I don't know. I definitely play it safe. There's a reason I'm still 30-40% in stable coins. That's for sure.
What will it take for you to get bent down? Because obviously I know you like to keep 10% of your portfolio in stable coins. What's it going to take for JT to get to 10%?
Oh man, I would love that. More certainty in the market, really.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen anytime over the next like year or two, as the yield curves, the 2-year and the 10-year Treasury yields just inverted, and as I've stated, we've talked about before, that usually signals a recession over the next 6 to 18 months, which could take a while. We could rally over the next 12 to 18 months before the recession, but it's just too risky of an environment right now, and there's way too many rate hikes to go on. For me, it's really hard to project when I will put most of my money back in the market, but I hope it's soon, because I'd much rather hold Algorand than USDC or stable, but
Right.
I'd also much rather hold these stable coins right now in the attempts to hold more Algorand in the future. So,
Right. What about you, C. Will?
Repeat the question. I'm sorry.
Just like with right now, with where you're at, what would make you more bullish as far as to put more money into Algorand right now with what we're seeing it happen? And just obviously within Algorand itself, is there news, like, so I guess what JT's saying, that like he's not really focused on the news so much as what Algorand's doing and buying based on that. He's more looking at the overall macro economics. What's your view there?
So yeah, I'm more similar to the macro, and it's like it has kind of almost nothing to do with crypto and Algorand. What I'm trying to do right now is stack cash and build up my business and buy a house.
yep.
And when I buy the condo, I would feel more comfortable dumping all my cash back into the market.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the type to, like, as long as I got enough, some money in the house to pay all the bills, the food, and things of that nature, I don't need that much surplus cash. But right now, my surplus is to buy another asset class. And once I do that, I'm going, I'm a 90% crypto type of person. I know how to make cash, so I don't, trip about like holding on to much of it if I can get an asset that has a higher opportunity or possibility of, doubling or in the future. Even my time horizon is long, and I'm not tripping about anything in the short term, basically.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I do buy Algorand every week. I have, it's not much, but I buy $100 every week on Coinbase, and then when the price goes down and hits certain levels, like if it hits 69 cents, I'm gonna buy some more. If it hits 67 cents, I'm gonna buy some more, and if it hits 50 cents or anywhere near, I'm gonna buy some more. So I'm gonna unload some of my stable coins if the prices keep dipping, but that being said, I still am going to keep it well above 10% until I'm much more certain that things are going in the right direction. Even if I don't get the best entry price and I wait to see a real reversal, and maybe I could have got in at the bottom that was 20 or 30% lower, but I'm getting in at a higher price because it's a more certain higher price. You can see the clear uptrend.
Yep.
I'm okay with that. I'd rather there be certainty in the market than an uptrend that is very weak and on the back burner of a very bad downtrend. So I don't know.
So the real thing is, all we have to do is to beat inflation for the most part, and that's like 8%. So if you can get an 8% return or more, you at least are going to be flat. And
for sure. And
I don't think that's bad either.
And people
and
also
Algorand governance can really help. I mean, if you're earning, I mean, the last period was 11%. 11% in rewards. The one before that was like 16. I think right now we're sitting at like 14%, but obviously there's still a couple of days left to for that number to go down some. But and that's it paid out every, every quarter. So that's a huge vehicle for people who are looking at Algorand as a long-term 2030, 2040 type investment. I mean, you could really stack some serious money in that time. And
Yeah.
then you definitely don't have to worry about, the, year to year fluctuations of the market and what's going on as much, because, as long as it keeps building, it's going to go up.
I got another comment too, because it's like when it comes to crypto, I always, like, in my journey, talked about layer ones. I believe in the whole blockchain as a whole, so that's why I'm always like, I would rather buy Algorand over anything else in this ecosystem, because that's tied to the whole blockchain. So that's what I like to do, and I think is less downside with the blockchain token than a third, fourth, fifth, sixth level token that's somewhere on some platform or a DEX.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And to add to your point about inflation, I think people should also just be aware that not every year your portfolio is going to be green. I mean, even if you look at the returns on the stock market, they say that the S&P averages 7 to 10% a year. But that's an average. That means some years it's down 3%, and other years it's up, 20%, and then the next year it might be down 5%, and it averages that positive 7 to 10%. And that's really what you should be striving for. You shouldn't hurt yourself or beat yourself up if you have a red year or even 2 red years, as long as the long-term average and trajectory is up. You're never going to have green years every year. And if you do, honestly, slide into my DMs, because I'd love to know your strategy. I really would.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah.
I mean, heck, even the S&P last year was up. 2021 was a really good year for the S&P. It was like, what, 20 something, maybe 20%.
Yep. And I'm not talking about people that got, maybe started investing 2 or 3 years ago and have 2 or 3 years of successful trading, but I'm talking about the people that have been in it for 10, 20 years, or even like 8+ years. If you've been green every single year, definitely hit me up.
Yeah. I need that lesson too.
Yep.
All right, y'all want to close out?
Let's wrap it up.
Yep.
All right, everyone. I appreciate everyone for joining in the chat. The chat was very lively, and this is great to do on the Mondays. So hopefully we can do more of it. It's been great, guys.
Yes. Thanks for tapping in, y'all. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully we provide value every time.
Yep. See you guys hopefully at the end of the week.
Yeah. Take care.